IELTS Cast, episode 26.
You listening to IELTS Cast, the podcast to put you in touch with successful IELTS candidates from around the world. Listen and learn as they explain how they achieved Band 7, 8 and even 9. Now, here's your host, Ryan.
Hello and welcome to IELTS Cast. Today I'm speaking with Sheila, an IELTS candidate that successfully scored an overall band of 7 when she took her exam in the Philippines in November of last year. Hi Sheila, welcome to IELTS Cast.
Hello, Sir Ryan.
Now, Sheila, it's very kind of you to share some time to tell us about your experience with the exam. I'm just going to go over the 4 marks that you received. You had a 7.5 in listening, you had 6.5 in reading, and in writing and speaking, you had 7.
Yeah.
And you took the general examination,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah. So, what were the reasons behind why you took the IELTS?
Actually, I am planning to migrate to Australia, and I'm actually applying for a permanent visa.
But my understanding of the way that process works is that you have to score band 7 or higher across all 4.
Yeah, I actually need an 8 in each test because I wouldn't apply for a state sponsorship visa, and but 7 would be fine, but yeah, still have to apply for sponsorship. So yeah, hopefully I can get 8 on my next exam, but 7
Okay,
would be okay.
I see. Okay, so then I guess that this recent exam you could not use to apply towards your immigration to Australia.
Yeah, yes,
Okay, I
I
see.
cannot claim any points with
I
my current score.
Now in your email to me, you had said something about mistakes that you were able to fix and that had some sort of impact, a positive impact upon this band 7 that you've recently scored. Do you want to elaborate a bit on that? What did you mean when you said that?
Actually, when I was and I had an idea about the IELTS, I thought at first that it would be easier for me because I was studying English since I was in grade school, and but then I relied too much on myself and I didn't practice that much. So yeah, so when I get to the exam, I had just like a 1 week preparation, but I didn't really focus on the rules and yeah, with the rules that I've been getting and the tips that I've been getting from your side as well and from the others. I really didn't focus on that much and didn't practice that much as well. So that's why when I took the exam, especially in writing and in speaking, I really regret it because I've encountered while I'm scanning the previous topics, it was like very similar to what I've had during my actual exam, and I really regret it because I didn't try to practice much.
I see. So then part of your study strategy now is to keep up with the current topics on the exam. Is that kind of part of what's going on there?
Yeah, my study plan now is I'm actually compiling and it's the part of my study plan would be your tips and strategies, especially those on YouTube. And also I've had this Cambridge 1 to 9. I'm doing that practice sets as well, and I try to dedicate now at least 1 hour every day to do practice sets. And I'm actually currently enrolled in a review school here in Manila. So whenever I have time, every Saturday I try to go there. But I'm actually planning to take this, hopefully this coming April or May, whenever I feel I'm really ready to take it.
Okay, great. Okay, so now it sounds like you have several things that are a part of your study strategy, and I'll just amplify. So you said that you're working through the Cambridge tests, which seems to be a pretty standard strategy for students wanting to score well, particularly in listening and reading. And you're watching lots of online material to do with writing and for speaking, you said that you're practicing an hour every day, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is also a very healthy part of the strategy. So now, why don't we talk about the improvements that you've made since you've started this strategy? Have you noticed that your skills are getting better?
I actually just started attending exam last my classes last week. So with I took a math exam from my previous previous school, and I got a good score than I'm getting before. So, but in listening, I'm starting to get panic because before I was getting like 7.5 and higher during my practice exam, but now I got one 6.5 and 6.
Okay, yeah,
But
that
that's
happens.
I think the mistakes that I'm getting because I've been like 4 months that I'm not really doing this practice IELTS, so I think it will be a good start for me.
Okay, terrific, good. Okay, now let's then talk about your experience, and maybe you can share some of the strategies that led you to the successes that you had on the last exam. Now, my understanding from what you've just said is that you really weren't preparing for the IELTS in particular for your last exam. It was more just
Yes.
the English that you had accumulated sort of through your day to day life, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what was able to help you in the exam, I guess. But
Yes.
you have some pretty good marks. You scored 7.5 in listening, and you
Mm-hmm.
scored a 7 in writing, which I think is interesting because often students don't score so high their first time in the writing. So and you scored a 7 in speaking. So why don't we start with the listening? What do you attribute the 7.5 to?
Actually, for the listening, I'm really doing this Cambridge once a night, and that's like every day I try to do that a week before my exam, and that's while I'm really focused on the listening and the reading, not for my writing and speaking. For the listening, I also watch English movies. So like a month before I plan to take my exam, I just watch English shows or any English movies or series, and
And now,
yeah,
what's
that's
the
for my
strategy?
listening.
So do you watch those with any sort of subtitle or what's the? I mean, is this sort of active listening that where you're stopping and you're rewinding and you're listening again?
Oh, it's been just passive. I really don't like the reading subtitles, so I just try to listen and what they're saying, and I try to understand what does it mean. And yeah, because I was really focused on my grammar before. That's really my focus. Maybe that's one thing that helped me with my writing.
Okay, so you spent a lot of time focusing on improving your grammar. And when you say that, what sort of strategies were you using to do that?
I was reading this book. It's a grammar. I forgot the title. Let me check. But yeah, I was reading this one book, and also I'm taking this exam for grammar as well, and the tips from the internet as well. Those are very helpful. So I just um, those are the things that I tried to use when I was doing this. Oh yeah. If I can remember, the title of the book was Little Gold Grammar Book.
Sorry, can you say that again?
The Little Gold Grammar Book.
The Little Gold Grammar Book.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't heard of that before. The Little Gold Grammar Book. Okay.
Find it very comprehensive, and it helps me too because I really had a hard time, especially with the more complex principle in terms of grammar. Yeah, so yeah,
So,
I find it very helpful.
what are some of the specifics, if you can think of any, where you read this book, the Little Gold Grammar Book, and you thought, oh, the English that I'm using has been mistaken, Can you think of any
Mhm.
specific example of what you changed?
Um, for example, in terms of the either or and neither nor construction,
Okay.
I before I thought there I really don't know about the rules in terms of what this the form of if it would be singular or plural.
Mm-hmm.
So I just learned that
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, whatever you will follow the type of this verb um, after the or nor,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Did you grow up in a household that spoke English?
No, it's not. I'm not. I didn't.
Okay. So when did you start learning the language?
It was actually incorporated in my um, subjects since I was in my elementary until in my college. But with my friends' help, because it's not really a medium of language here in the Philippines, so my friends helped me, my office mates helped me to speak in English every time during office hours.
Mm-hmm.
And since my boyfriend is also in English, so we talk every night, and he tried to help me as well.
Mm-hmm. I guess that helps too. That you have people that you can speak with and practice with and perhaps learn from and model your speaking after.
Yeah,
So Sheila, this was your very first time taking the exam, correct?
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
So how did you feel, in the minutes leading up to the exam and when you got into the examination room and the entire experience itself? What was your overall feeling?
I was really nervous at first. It was my speaking exam that comes first before my writing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was really nervous, but I hopefully next time I could do all the exam in just one day, so the momentum it will be just one shot.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so you got into the examination room. Where was the examiner from, the speaking examiner?
I think she's a Filipino. She looks Chinese, but she also looks like a Filipino. So,
Mm-hmm. And how did this person make you feel?
oh, I feel very uncomfortable during my speaking exam. She looks not friendly. I was really expecting that she will make me like comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't feel that I was engaged in a conversation. So that makes me really awkward. So it
Okay.
just feels like I'm just answering all her questions. So it's not like just normal conversation. So it's really, I feel uneasy during that time.
Okay. Yeah, some candidates they tell me that they feel it's a very friendly and warm and it's easy to
Yeah.
demonstrate their speaking because they feel comfortable. But it sounds like you had the opposite, which is you felt that you were being examined, which makes you feel nervous, which makes you perhaps not perform as well as you could have.
Yeah, because she was really smiling at all.
Really?
And,
Okay.
and, maybe I was also surprised on that time because, my speaking exam took about 30 minutes earlier than I expected.
Oh, I see. So you mean the scheduled time for this?
Yeah, yeah,
You engage the exam 30 minutes before the scheduled time.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess. Well, those sorts of changes would. I'm sure that they could
Mm-hmm.
be a little bit nerve wracking. Yeah. Okay. So you're in the room, and unfortunately, it was an uncomfortable experience. Well, what sort of questions did the examiner ask you?
If I can remember, aside from the personal one, my cue card is about the topic of attraction, the most favorite attraction that I've been into, and it was followed up with similar type related to that, and also with the tourists here in the Philippines, how it will, the negative impact of it to our culture.
Mm-hmm.
For example, she she cited as an example the Boracay here,
Mm-hmm.
how it will affect. or does it have a negative effect on the traditional culture of our country?
I see. So, and actually, I think we've seen a couple of task two questions like that last year. I think the IELTS there were a couple of task two questions that were to do with tourism and the effects it has
Yeah,
on the host country. So this sounds like it was a bit of a variation of that.
yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so now how did you feel about your performance overall when you left the room? I mean, you felt nervous when you were in there, but did you feel confident afterwards, or did you feel disappointed, or what was the emotion?
I actually felt after the exam that I messed it up because I wasn't able to answer properly or correctly her question. And then what she did was she told me that this was not um, that she elaborated her question, and that was the mistake. I realized that I should have elaborate or clarify the question so I could answer properly. And then, yeah, after that, I really felt disappointed. I thought I would get like 6 or 6.5 in speaking.
Okay, okay, so you were a little bit relieved when it was a seven then.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting to get 7.
Okay.
So when I got my scores and then it was 6.5 in reading because I was really confident when I took that. Yeah, I was really disappointed.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
I I I hope that because I actually a fast, I read fast as well, and I think I have like 15 minutes spare time, or I finished the exam. I still have 15 minutes, so would should have recheck it.
How long were you speaking for in response to the questions that you could elaborate upon?
Actually, I think I'm answering the third questions. Not really short, but I was actually tried to elaborate it, and I was able to utilize the 2 minutes. And then I think that my mistake really was wasn't able to comprehend properly some of her questions.
Okay.
And yeah, the other mistake I realized is I really didn't clarify, or I know we can ask questions or clarifications, but I didn't do that.
Now let's just talk about then the experience that you had when you were in the writing. So you said this was on the second day, correct?
Yeah. The task was about it's letter writing. If I can remember, the topic was about if I'm new to a town, and I will inquire to the what I will inquire to like this person on what sort of activity do they have or sports do they have here in that town. And for my task to writing, I think it's about education. I can't remember exactly, I'm sorry,
No problem.
but
Yeah,
I think yeah, it's about education. I just followed your tips.
okay. So
Yeah,
you were
that's the
breaking things up.
structure.
It sounds so. Then you
Yeah.
had the paragraphs and you had sentences that were doing little jobs to hold the theme of the essay together.
Yeah, actually, I think I was able to construct 5 paragraphs
Okay.
or four I think.
Yep.
The first one is like introductory paragraph. Then it would be like um, a brief statement, and then the first and the second one, it's like I've given my opinion, and then supported it with an example, elaborated, and if I can apply or state my own experience, I do that. I try to insert it as well. Same with my third paragraph, and then with my in my last paragraph, I tried to reconnect it with my first paragraph in the preceding one. I just make sure that they're all connected, and Yeah, that's it.
You wanted to get in contact and share your story. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention?
Actually, there is. I think preparation is really the key, and then on the resources, review materials are they can get them everywhere, especially online. I would really recommend as well to, if they have an issue with their grammar, I'm not too confident as well, so just try to improve it. I think it will really like hit all the type of exam, all the areas of IELTS exam. So also English, listening to English movies, as they said, is really effective for me, and trying to speak English as well, even though you're not in an English speaking country, would really help as well. And confidence, I think they should bring it with themselves as well, and try to utilize the time. Um, because um, if you have spare time after you answer the exam, yeah, do this do this spare time to recheck your exam, or yeah, review your answers, so you'll make sure that you utilize all your time properly. And yeah, I also recommend your website. I would really focus on that. And for IELTS Simon, these are the two websites that I use as well. And if if you can remember the one that you posted, mimicking your voice, so you can practice the pronunciation. I also do that. I just started doing that last Friday. Every day I try to do that.
And
So I practice with it.
do you find that exercise helpful? That's good feedback for me actually.
Yeah,
Is it
yes,
okay? Great.
because I actually like I was able to get tips like, if you will be asked something, don't just cite for an example or an answer. You also cite like an alternative for that, something like that. So it will make your statement more complex. So you can, maybe I can impress my examiner.
What do you think is the greatest challenge for a person from the Philippines taking the IELTS?
Maybe because I'm working. I really don't have much time, because my travel time is really taking me too long. When I get home, I'm already tired, and yeah, I think time is one of the problem. And then for the others, I'm not sure that they are aware of the online resources that they can benefit, so they just involve themselves to their resources are limited. Because my experience with my review class, my classmates are not aware of the online resources like your site, your website. So every time I try to mention it to them, yeah, they are amazed.
Okay, yeah, there are lots of really good resources
Yes,
online. Yeah,
yes.
but sometimes you're right. I mean, the problem is just that people aren't aware of them, or perhaps they don't have access to them. So, I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
case, I don't know what the case is like in the Philippines, but when I was in China, so YouTube is blocked, so that's an issue. So,
Mm.
yeah, but I know what you mean. It's good that people like you are willing to take the time to share their experience and to help other people find the resources they need to be successful on the examination.
Mm.
Sheila, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to share your story with us today.
Thank you also, Sir Ryan.
Thank you for downloading from IELTS.com. Have you achieved an overall band of 7 or higher on the IELTS exam? Why not contribute to the podcast? Contact Ryan at his blog, IELTSIELTS.com.